All right, guys. So I guess we're kind of getting going here. This is basically the welcome podcast to the 2022 season of Wisconsin Bass Battles. I'm Trevor Kozlowski. I'm one of the anglers, and then this is Miles. So he's the other angler in the series. We are gonna have some awesome content coming to you for this series. This is a new series that I kind of came up with, and Miles hopped on board after last year. We did a little bit, right?
Yeah. So last year we kind of did a thing where we were just doing little one-on-one head-to-head tournaments, and just me and him fishing against each other. We were fishing smaller lakes around the area, and then last year they were kind of last-minute, poorly thrown together. This year we've gone into in-depth a lot more with setting everything up, getting everything ready to go for it. So have a full eight-lake schedule this year. Last year we did 3. We did White Clay Lake up in Bonduelle, Cecil area. We did Kinney Lake, which is over by Marion, Clintonville area, and Trevor has a camper over there, so hit that lake that weekend, and then we did another
Wolf River.
Yeah, launched out of just up from Gill's Landing.
So we absolutely loved doing it. So like you said, we kind of ramped it up a little bit more this year. Took things a little bit more to the professional level. We're going to have everything recorded 100% of the time, and then we're going to have like a kind of like a studio portion of it where we're going to go from the studio to the lake, and just have some really, really cool content coming out for you guys later on in the year when this is all kind of going on and stuff. We also have some really great sponsors that we will get into later on in the podcast here. Like Miles mentioned, we're doing 8 lakes this year between May and September, I want to say.
I think our last one is end of September. We're starting middle of May is when we're starting off on doing these.
So it's going to be tons of fun. You guys are going to want to stay tuned. If you guys aren't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, this is where most of the main content is going to be coming out. That's where all the videos of the actual stages and stuff will be posted. And yeah, it's just going to be an awesome time.
And then the other thing too, we're mainly focusing on smaller lakes, just because a lot of these smaller lakes, they typically get overlooked in the area. So we're mainly focusing on smaller lakes and
trying to promote them because they get overlooked for tournament wise. I mean, they can't have a 100 boat tournament out on some of the lakes that we're doing, but this is a chance for some of you viewers at home to go ahead and check out some of these lakes that might be a little bit closer to you that might not have ever happened. I know we went to White Clay Lake last year for stage 2, it's kind of like a run through one or whatever, but I've never been there before, and there is some big fish in there. So I never knew about that until Miles brought me out to the lake. So definitely going to be cool to check out. So we're going to talk a little bit about our boats right off the bat. So Miles, tell us a little bit about your boat. We got a great picture of it right up here for you.
So last year I had a John boat. Had that one for a couple of years now, and then last year with work I went out of state for a couple months over the winter and was able to save up, and I did a bit of an upgrade there. I
Tad bit.
went from a 14-foot John boat to a old 18-foot Pro Craft. So we did a little upgrading there.
What kind of graphs are you running on that this year?
So there's the 9-inch Lowrance hook at the dash, and then at the bow there's an old Humminbird still, and then that's also a 9-inch. So those are pretty good upgrades too from the John boat. It has a 150 and then has a power pole. So I'm pretty excited about that.
And you went out, and I know I took a quick ride with you. What are you liking about the new boat this year compared to the John boat? How is it running? What kind of problems you got going on? Just kind of give us a rundown on that stuff.
It handles way nicer than I thought it was going to. I took the day that Trevor and I went out. It was a rougher day.
30 degrees.
Yeah, 30 degrees, windy. It was miserable, but neither of us had anything going on, so we were like, hey, let's take the boat out for a hot lap around the lake. And I'm really impressed with how well it handles. Then just having some minor issues with batteries, but otherwise, so far I really like it.
Awesome, cool. We are also kind of streaming this at the moment right now on live. So again, this is going to be kind of posted afterwards, but we're going to keep up with the live comments. So for those of you who are watching live right now, feel free to comment any questions on the series or the format, or anything like that. Otherwise, just stay tuned and kind of just have some fun with us while we do this. So I don't have as great of a boat as what Miles does. This is my beauty I got right here. This is a 15-foot Starcraft. I think the hull is from 1963, I want to say. So it's an oldie, and it's nicknamed SS Problematic because there has not been one single thing that I have not fixed on this boat. From the trolling motor to the trailer light wiring, to the wheels, the fish finders, the whole shebang. I mean, I've put a lot of time and effort into this, but it's got a 28 horsepower Evinrude Johnson on the back. And so that's going to get me about 25 miles per hour, so not as fast as what your 150 is going to do for you.
I hit 51 with 2 guys under tournament load, and it's underpropped right now, so I was pretty impressed with that. John boat, fastest I ever went was 23 in the John boat, so it's definitely, like I said, a bit of an upgrade.
So you're going to probably see Miles fly by me half the time on these small lakes, with his big old boat. I know you splashed me once in the Wolf River at the end of the season. It was just kind of a joke or whatever.
Messing around.
But so some new upgrades I put on it this year. I finally got the motor up and running after going through a motor or something that wasn't working. I did that. Put a brand new Humminbird Helix fish finder on there, so that's a big upgrade from the old Piranha Max that I got on the front graft there. So it's a boat that'll get me around, and got a lot of tackle in it, and looking forward to doing some tournament fishing in that. So Miles, I want you to kind of talk about what the format of the series is going to be. Talk about just how we're doing it.
I'm sorry, one of my buddies just joined on here. It's kind of hard to take it serious now. No. So our format that we're going to be running, typical 5 fish limit for a tournament, just like the elites do. We're going to be running 8-hour days. Going to be, I think most of them are like 62, I think is what we're running for most of our tournaments, but that'll obviously vary time of year, but all 8 hours, all during the day, or all 5 fish limits, so best 5 wins, and we're doing, like we said, smaller lakes, and then we do have one on the Wolf River. We're not sure where we're launching out of yet for that one, but
we don't know really the boundaries on it, but we'll kind of figure that out as
and then we're mainly doing it for bragging rights, and then just to show you guys and help promote that these smaller lakes that you might only be able to get a John boat on, or a kayak or a canoe, you can still go out there and catch good fish.
Absolutely. All right, cool. So we're going to talk a little bit about our schedule here. This is the schedule for 2022 tentatively. Basically, if we have some really bad weather, I mean, we're willing to fish through some rain and stuff, but if it becomes monsoon season out on the water, I know White Clay Lake was a little rough last year.
Yeah, it's kind of in a bowl almost between some hills and farm fields, so there's really no wind breaks out there.
No.
All the winds just come over the hills and dump right in, so that gets pretty choppy pretty quick out there, even though it is a smaller lake.
So we're going to try to do our best, but obviously safety's first on all this stuff. And if we do have, something we got to cancel, we're going to attempt to reschedule if we can. I know Miles he's fishing the Wolf River Bass Club as well this year. So again, this is just kind of a bragging rights tournament, as long with, trying to promote the small lakes. So this kind of doesn't take as much precedence as his actual Bass Club. So we're going to try to work with the dates if we have, available and stuff like that, to try to redo it if we can. But if not, this is about the tentative schedule. So we're starting it off May 15th. That's the first day for most of Wisconsin that you can actually legally keep fish. We're going to start that off on Lower Red Lake. Elkhart Lake will be May 22nd. That'll be that following weekend. That's in Sheboygan. And yeah, you guys can see it right up on the screen back here. White Clay is June 5th. I think that's 2 weekends after the Elkhart Lake Stage 3. Miller Dam. Talk about Miller Dam.
Miller Dam, it's a pretty big lake up in Medford area. It's about a half hour west of Medford. And I found out about that lake because my family's been camping up there for probably 33 years now or so. They've been going up there every year over the 4th. So that was how I got to know and love that lake. My PB used to be out of that lake for the longest time. It was It was a 20-inch 6-pounder. So the thing looked like a football. It was fat. But so that one is how I found out about that one. My new PB is actually out of Lower Red, which I caught last spring. So
pretty big fish here for the small lakes. Although Miller Dam is a big lake.
Yeah, Miller Dam, I want to say it's 2,300 acres.
Yeah.
So a good sized lake.
But that's a big travel trip.
Yeah, and then that's going to be our travel trips. I'm actually fishing another tournament the day before on Otter Lake with Wolf River Bass Club, and that's our distance tournament for our club. So we're camping up in that area, actually right on Miller Dam, and I'm going to fish my tournament on Saturday, turn around, and next day fish another tournament on Miller Dam. So
It's gonna be a long weekend for you.
It's gonna be a long weekend, a lot of fishing, pre-fishing all day Friday. Took off work, so I'm pretty excited about that. But it's gonna be a busy weekend.
The cool thing with that tournament, again, all these are gonna be head-to-head, myself versus Miles. But for that one, because it is a long distance trip, we're actually kind of switching up the format just a tad bit. We're doing a team event. So your partner, tell them about your partner.
So my partner is gonna be Mitch for that one. One of my good buddies, he actually got me into tournament fishing and got me in it with Wolf River Bass Club. So he's going to be coming up. He comes camping with us every year over the 4th. So he's going to be up for that one. And so me and him are going to be fishing together. And then
I got my buddy Cam, who's going to be coming up. I've fished with him a ton. Super jacked about bass fishing. So we're going to make that a team event. 2v2, whoever can haul in the biggest 5 fish. Same format, just adding another person to it, just because it's a pretty big lake and you got to cover a lot of water that day. So that's going to be really cool. And then after that, we got Little Green Lake, and both of us have some good experience on that lake. I know personally, I have a lot of different things you can do out there. You can flip like brush, you can do frogging in the pads, you can do offshore stuff. I mean, there's plenty of stuff out there.
On our schedule too, there's a couple of them that I haven't fished. I've never been out on Elkhart. I've been on Lower Red only a time or two. Same for White Clay, only a time or two. Little Green, I don't have a ton of experience out there. I fished it one time with my dad last year, like the end of August. It was just kind of one of them weeknights, and we were like, hey, let's go fishing after work. So
and you put together a clinic on that lake, didn't you?
Yeah. We found some offshore rock, and we were just cranking offshore shallow rock, and it came off of a point, and we ended up we didn't catch a ton of size, but we probably caught, between two of us, we probably caught 30 fish in a couple hours that night. So it was a fun night of fishing. Then my dad, he lost a real big one on a frog, and so not a ton of experience, but a little bit out there.
Enough to get you through 8 hours of a day. And again, we're gonna try to pre-fish these, but schedules are a little tight this year and stuff, so we'll see what happens. That's going to be the fun thing about this. It's going to be all recorded and stuff, and we're going to cut it up afterwards, so we're going to pull the best parts out for you guys. But this is going to be a lot of raw emotion because those cameras are running all day long. So we're going to put together some really cool episodes for you guys to watch at home and stuff, and just kind of see what we go throughout the day. After that, we got Archibald Lake on the 21st of August.
And then that's up in Townsend, so that's it's going to be another up north weekend trip. That one, my family, we have a half acre up on Legend Lake, so we're going to be camping up there, and then going to be commuting the rest of the way, which it's still a good 45-50 minutes or so.
Quite the travel for
yeah, so that one's going to be a little bit of traveling, but that one, excited about that one. That one I've only ever fished twice. First time I ever fished it, awful. I think I caught one fish the whole time, but it was a giant pike, and then I fished it once last year in September, and it was a decent day, but it wasn't anything crazy. But it's a tougher lake. It's a cool lake though. It's small, but it sets up big because of all the points, different cuts, all the islands. I don't know the exact mileage of shoreline, but there's quite a bit out there. A lot more than you would expect for a lake that's only, how big is it? For 392 acres.
Yeah,
it's
so
real deep, clear lake. So a lot you can do out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on September 11th, we're doing Pigeon Lake, and that's up in Clintonville. This is again a lake that neither of us have fished, so we're a tad bit skeptical on it. We've heard that it's a little shallower than what we'd like to run. So I'm gonna actually take the liberty of graphing that one throughout the summer and kind of make a judgment call. Is this gonna be a lake that we are actually able to do? If not, like I said, we have a couple lakes in our back pocket that we can go ahead and switch out if need be. But we're going to look for that. That's going to set up right in that fall transition. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of pattern the bass are on for that one. If they're going more for that fall pattern or if they're still sticking on that summer pattern. And a lot of it has a couple of back cuts and stuff like that, so it does set up pretty shallow for that. Did you have anything on Pigeon Lake that you wanted to talk?
Never been there, driven by it a million times because we deer hunt up in that area, turkey hunt up in that area, so never been on it, but looked at maps before. It looks real grassy. Looks like a dirtier lake, kind of stained water.
Yeah.
So
Might get weed choked. We don't know. So.
Yeah, so we'll see. Like we said, neither of us have ever been out there. So
it's going to be interesting all season long. And then finally, we got on September 25th, Wolf River. I know when we were putting together the schedule, we each got to pick 4 lakes for the schedule, and I told Miles, I'm like, I know exactly what one of your lakes is going to be. And that was the Wolf River. And tell us why you love the Wolf River so much.
So I like because there's so much you can do out there. If you want to go largemouth fishing, you can go largemouth fishing in the backwaters. If you want to catch smallies, you can do that. There's good fish out there, especially in the fall. They start to push up, or they start to feed up. My bad. And then it's one of the few lakes in the area or systems that has a lot of shad up here. So they start to feed up on the shad, and they get fat, and once that fall rolls around, it becomes pretty good fish. And we're hitting it a little earlier than when it peaks in the fall. We're hitting it about probably 2 weeks earlier.
Did we hit it in October last year?
I think we did.
I think
it was like the first. Yeah, because it was a week before the Open.
That's right. Yeah. So it definitely gets fished a lot. It is a tournament lake, but again,
system.
Yeah, the whole system is.
MLF has been up here twice. They fished an actual event up here, and then they fished one of their cup events up here also.
Yeah.
And then NPFL was up here last year as well. So it's a big system. We're gonna stick mainly just to the river, but you've got Lake Poygan in there. Lake Winneconne, Big Lake Butamore, and Winnebago all in the same system. So there's a lot of water out there, but there's a lot you can do.
Yeah, but we're going to try to stick to the river mainly, and again, we'll kind of come up with those parameters as we get a little closer to it and stuff. But it's an awesome schedule. We're definitely looking forward to it. This is something new for the two of us, just kind of doing this thing. But again, we're just gonna have a lot of fun with it and just kind of see how it rolls and stuff. We worked out some of the kinks and stuff from last year. We kind of saw what worked and what didn't really work and stuff. So we're gonna just try to put forth our best foot and see what happens. So we're gonna kind of go through a couple of the lakes here. I know we just kind of talked a little bit about them, but now we do got a picture of each of the lakes up. So this first one is Lower Red. I believe I chose this one. I liked this because it's springtime fishing, it's bed fishing, and I know many people are a little bit against the bed fishing and pulling a Big 5 tournament during bed fishing and stuff, but we're going to release those fish right back as soon as we get done weighing them in and stuff. But you can see a couple of the cutlets over there on Lower Red will fish very, very shallow. I think it's like 3 to 5 feet in that area. So you can absolutely...
A lot of those cuts get pretty shallow. You almost have them on the south part of the lake right in here. You have almost like a main river channel like you get down south on a lot of those reservoirs on like Guttersville, Chickamauga, those sort of deals. You kind of start to get that down by the dam. It gets deeper down there, but overall the lake is it's fairly shallow, not horribly, but it's a shallower lake, very grassy. Once you hit about middle of June, it's almost unfishable, honestly, with how much grass is out there. It's a lot of punching.
And that's why we're doing it right away to start off the schedule, so it's not, weed choked and stuff like that
but there is also a lot of rock out there, too, so there's
gotta watch
quite
the
a bit
lower units.
Yeah.
So, we don't want that happening because the whole season might be a little, unmanageable if we blow the lower units on the first trip. So then we got Elkhart Lake. This is again another one of my lakes. I don't know why we really decided to go with all my lakes like right off the bat, but I love the way this sets up because This is a little bit towards the later part of the spawn, so you can still probably have a couple spawners, you know, up in those shallows. And this is a spot that I think both of us are gonna fish. That middle spot right there. It's got that shallow flat right there. I think that was like 10 foot when I looked at it on contour maps.
It's a deep,
but
real deep, clear
it gets
lake.
deep. You go straight out in the middle there, it's like 119 feet, so it drops real quick. So you can get the spawners, the late spawners. You can get the post spawn fish, and I mean you can just do a lot of different tactics. And that's from what I know, and from what I've looked at pictures and talked with people. It's a big smallie lake, so a lot of smallmouth action might come from that. But I have seen there was a 10-pound largemouth caught out of there. So I'm looking forward to seeing.
At least that's what the post was saying.
At least that's what the post was saying.
It was a big fish. I don't know if I would give it 10, but it was definitely a good fish.
Yeah.
Definitely bigger than average for this area.
Regardless, I still think it's gonna play well. You know, we'll see what happens with it, but there's a lot to do there. Then we got white clay, another one of my lakes that I picked for the year. So we're already at 3 out of the 4 lakes that I picked. But white clay we fished last year. Miles found quite the pattern, I would say.
Yeah, all I did was I was just throwing swim jigs. It was keeping it real simple, but it was real good swim jig bite out there. Caught a few flipping, and then I didn't have an amazing bag. I had I think 12.5 pounds is what I had that day.
Buddy, you had an amazing bag because
But for the time of year, it was a pretty decent bag for up here in Wisconsin.
You were culling, and I had 2 fish all day.
Yeah.
Say at least I got my butt kicked out on white clay. I was throwing a chatterbait for most of the day. I don't know why, because I've told Miles this 10,000 times, but I lost my swim jig box and didn't have that with me that day, so that was a little bit of a struggle. But yeah, he kicked my butt. I had 2 fish. I had one for 212 and one for 112. Wish I could have done better, but he found the pattern. He was calling and stuff, so yeah. It's an awesome lake. The only downside that I see with this again is that wind, but we're just gonna have to be prepared for it one way or another, and we're gonna try to fish it the best possible. Got anything else on white clay?
Nope.
All right. So this is your lake here.
So then this is Miller Dam. As you can see, it sets up. It's a very big lake.
That's only part of it, actually.
Yeah, this is only part of the lake.
That's all we could get for a screenshot.
So down here, under this bridge here, it opens up to another big bay, and then the whole north side of the lake there. But it's a real stumpy lake back in the bay, so you kind of have to be careful running around in there. But it's murkier, stained water. A lot of frogging, a lot of flipping on that one, and then a pretty good swim jig bite out there too. So and there's a few spots throwing crankbaits and good fish out there, and like I said, real grassy, real stained water. But this one, it's quite a ways up north. It's up there by Medford, so from Neenah, Appleton area, it's about 3. It's almost a 3-hour drive to get up there, and we're gonna be camping up there that weekend.
Should be a good time. A lot of fun times ahead. And then we got Little Green Lake. Was this one mine or was this one of yours?
I can't remember. It was one of ours.
It was yours because I got pigeon on mine. So.
Yep.
All right, so talk about, again, why you chose Little Green for the reason.
Little Green, we were, like we said earlier, mainly focusing on smaller lakes in the area. We're trying to keep lakes within, we tried our best to keep them within an hour and 15 minutes of the Fox Valley, which this one was right on the edge. It was like an hour exact, I think, roughly.
That's right there.
So we chose this one. It was a smaller lake. Both of us have some experience out there, and we know there's good fishing out there.
Absolutely.
So. And then there's a lot you can do. It's a small lake, but there's a lot out there. You got docks, you got offshore rock and grass, you got shallow.
Got pads and stuff, so you can do a lot out there. This one is Archibald, and again, you got a cabin up near there. You got it on Legend Lake, but you've been up there a couple times.
Yeah, been up there twice. First time, it didn't pan out, but and then the second time, I caught a decent bag. I think I caught 14 or 15 pounds that day the second time, so just right about a 3-pound average. And then, but one thing I have noticed about this lake though, and everything I've heard from other people that have fished it, if the sun is out, it's going to be tough. That day I caught, the first time I ever fished it, there wasn't a cloud in the sky, and it was a grind. It was a grind to catch them. And then the second time I fished it, it was overcast, and it was honestly raining most of the day too. And I think I had a limit by probably 9 o'clock. I think I started fishing at like 6:30 that day, so it was much better fishing on the overcast day. So that's one thing to keep.
He's already giving tips out, you know.
That's one thing to keep in mind on that one. So
that's something I never knew. If it's gonna be a sunny, bright day out, it's gonna be crap and it's gonna be a grind. So we're looking for rainy and windy
pretty much
and just a
crap
day out there. So and we got some waterproof cases for the GoPros or whatever, but okay, good to know. So we're looking for a bad day on that one. We're looking for a bad day of weather for a good day of fishing.
I think we're going up there. Which one was that again?
I don't know.
I think that was around Labor Day, week before Labor Day. I think we were going up there, and then that was most of the. I think both times I fished was Labor Day weekend because obviously Labor Day 3-day weekend, family's gonna be up north, so
yeah. We try to keep the stuff away from holidays and for the most part and other stuff like that, like big time events and stuff. So. This one is Pigeon. So again, we're kind of sketchy about this one, but this one's right near my camper. It's about 15-20 minutes away. I've never fished it. I played golf right next to it. There's a golf course right up there. And it looked pretty good actually during the summer, so it wasn't too weed choked. But I have seen pictures that it does get weed choked. I don't know if that's towards the fall part of the year, which is when we're fishing it.
Yeah, so September 11th.
We're gonna see it
out there.
But there were some notable catches. There were definitely some big ones in there. I think there was a couple 6-pounders that were pulled out of there. So we're looking for a good day for that one. It's gonna set up shallow. A couple of these spots again. Those cutlets always really seem to set up shallow. I can't talk today. But yeah, they seem to set up shallow, and we're gonna looking for that transition. Hopefully, when those bass are pressuring the bait fish up into the shallows and stuff, and trying to get a quick bite on them, and we're gonna see if we can throw a couple lures in there and try to snag one out during that time.
That's the other thing too. This one, it's a mill pond, so it has a dam on the outside of the lake.
I think it's down this way a bit of ways.
Right down in this area, there's a dam, so it's actually a dammed up river, and it just weed choked. We have a lot of small mill ponds like this up in our area, so it pretty grassy, weed choked, shallow fishing is what it's going to end up being.
This is basically like Lower Red, but
smaller.
the weed choked version and a smaller version. So again, going to be a very interesting lake to fish. And then finally, we got the Wolf River, and we talked a little bit about this. It's a pretty big system, and we're not really sure where we're launching. I pulled the picture from where we launched last year. It was Wyland's Landing, right?
Wayland's. So that was in the Waiwiga area, and Wolf itself, it's 225 miles long. It starts up in the Crandon area, flows all the way down to Lake Poygan, which is down in Winneconne, Oshkosh area, so... It's a long ways.
What's the biggest? What's the longest that you've ever traveled on the Wolf? Because you've made some pretty long runs on them.
I don't know. I made a run last year. I had a day off of work and I ended up going fishing. And I started out in New London, went about 4 miles upriver, and then ended up. I was like, you know what? I want to go largemouth fishing, and then I ended up making a real long run almost to this area, which that's close to a 20-mile run. Yeah. So I think I went through 30. I think round trip was 36 that day that I went through on the John boat.
Pretty big trip. And you won't be doing that with this boat this year, right?
No. I did that. So I did that run in the John boat last year. I had a 6-gallon tank in it, and that thing just sipped gasoline. So I was pretty impressed. I still had 1.5 gallons left after making that long of a run when the test drive that me and Trevor took out on Little Lake Butamore last week. That one, I pretty much watched the gas gauge move on that. We went through almost a quarter tank that day.
It's a gas guzzler, those bigger motors. So that's about the advantage that I'll have, is that I could make long runs if I truly feel like it. I don't have much experience on this lake, so found a couple things last year that kind of worked, and also kind of watched a little bit of Miles footage to kind of see what he was doing. So, but he can watch my footage, but there really wasn't much to watch from it, because again, I didn't have much experience on it. And these last year ones that we did, they were last minute things. I think we honestly did this one we called each other up the night before, and we're like,
so.
You want to go fishing on the Wolf tomorrow and just do a derby? And we're like, yeah, why not? Let's just give her a send. And you know, we had a good day, but just it was a tough day for me. And I think it was a tough day a little bit for you, but
Yeah,
you put together a
that
decent
day it was a grind to catch my limit. I managed, I think, 12 and a half, 13 pounds, so nothing amazing, but it was a pretty solid day. But it was a grind because I remember I caught one smallie on a current break on an air rig, and then it was a lot of junk fishing that day. I caught one smallie on an air rig, a smallie flipping a tree on the main river on a current break, caught another smallie cranking some riprap, and then I ran into Trevor up in one of the cuts, one of the bayous, went to the back of it, started flipping trees, and finished out my limit with largemouth. So and that one,
the tree that I flipped about 30 or 40 times before he got there rolls up, just flips in a little. What were you throwing? Probably a D-bomb or something.
Yeah, I think I was throwing a D-bomb.
Flipped in a D-bomb, and about 2 seconds later catches a 2.5 pounder, chucks it back. Next cast in, catch another 2.5 pounder.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, like I've been sitting here for 3 hours flipping that tree, and you just caught 2 fish on me. I was like, little salty about that one. Plus you splashed me on the way in on that cutlet or whatever. But,
that was messing around, but it was unintentional to get you wet.
Oh,
but,
it's all good, but it's good times, you know.
Yeah, that one I ended up pulled into the back of the bayou, flipping some grass lines. Started off flipping trees, and ended up caught a bullfin. I thought that it was like a 4-pound largemouth, and ended up being a bullfin. Mm-hmm. Next tree over, I flipped a grass line right next to the tree. Ended up catching like a 3 or 3.5 pounder, and then like 2 trees later, I caught a 2.5 I think it was a 2.5, mm-hmm. and then the rest of the time I just worked my way closer to Trevor.
Yeah, he was creeping on my spot. He knew I had a good spot, but I wasn't catching him. So hey, at least I'm gonna call him on that one.
And then I caught a couple of 2.5s that didn't really help the limit, but it was a tough day. I didn't really catch anything until I went back into the cut Trevor was in. So.
Yeah. If only I could have put together a bag that day. But hey, it happens. And again, that's going to be the beauty of all this. Whether we catch fish or whether we don't, we're going to try to put together a great episode. I know that's one of the things we just didn't do last year, again, because we were just trying to work out all the kinks of this whole thing and stuff. And I'm very fortunate Miles is willing to do this along with his 8 other lakes he's got on his regular tournament schedule.
I think I'm signed up for 17 tournaments this year, so it's going to be a busy summer.
Yeah. So, but we're going to have fun with this series. This is going to be a new series, and with that, we do have like some different stages. So, like we said, stages 1 through 8. We got plenty of different sponsors for all of them. Our biggest sponsor this year is YOLOtek, and YOLOtek, if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically a stick that you plug into your nav light port. After you pull out your light in the morning or whatever when you're driving out. And you can stick a stick in there and then plug it into your GoPros, and you can record all day long. Like, it'll just give you power for the whole day.
Yeah, so as long as you have that light switch turned on, you're going to have constant power, and it's going to be a trickle charge.
Yep. I think it wipes off like 2% of your battery or whatever for the 8-hour day.
Almost nothing.
So, no, that's an awesome sponsor. So, again, we'll link all of our sponsorships for the whole year, down in the description and stuff like that. But YOLOtek is going to be awesome for us because we're going to be able to charge our GoPros all day. And obviously GoPro is a big sponsor of the program because obviously that's how we're going to be able to record this stuff.
Yeah, and then we have all the right cases this year.
Yes.
Which that's going to be huge because
we got windproof ones for white clay.
We'll have windproof, we'll have waterproof, and then just the normal running without a case. But because I remember last year I missed quite a few of my fish on camera on Wolf River because we were running into a lot of rain that day.
He got downpoured on the south end, and I was like super dry.
Yeah, I was only a couple miles upriver from where he was.
Yeah, and you just got
I was getting dumped on, so I had to shut the camera off. Unfortunately, I think I missed probably. I think
you missed a good amount of fish.
I think I missed 3 of my fish that day on camera because I only had 2 on camera. The one where I flipped the tree on the smallie and then cranking some riprap.
Exactly. So being able to have the right equipment this year and to be able to do that, we're never going to miss a fish catch. And that was the biggest thing. The other thing is we're trying to fish these tournaments. Like, this is 8 hours. We're grinding it out. We don't want to have to sit there and deal with having to change batteries, having to change SD cards.
That was another problem that we ran into last year was dead batteries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're eliminating the battery thing. Again, that YOLOtek is going to give us power all day, and then I also upgraded us to like 256 gigabyte SD cards, which will give us 16 hours of footage, even though we only need 8 of it. That way, we're never even going to have to like tamper with the cameras while fishing. We can just go out there, fish, have fun, and get it done.
Yeah, it's going to be turn on the camera, plug it in, and we don't have to worry about it. We won't have to worry about it at all until we go in for weigh-ins.
Mm-hmm. And so a couple other sponsors. I mean, obviously those are 2 really big sponsors, but we got TK's Custom Baits, the company that I make. I'm going to be giving out some baits and stuff like that later on in the year, so stay tuned for that. Pulse Fish Lures, they got an awesome jig. It's basically like this big bill that comes up on it, and it just vibrates through the water, kind of like a chatterbait.
It's like a chatterbait swim bait.
Chatterbait
combo.
swim jig, yeah. So Raze Energy, it's a new energy drink that came out a couple years back from Rep Sports, and they have like we both tried it, and this is like an energy drink that has 300 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah,
I want to say.
A lot of caffeine.
And I function on caffeine. That's like my go-go juice. And basically, the thing is when you have too much caffeine, you got that crash, the headaches, the chest pains, everything that goes along with it. With Raze, we've tried it, and it's like you don't have any of that. So it's just like straight energy, no crash. It's awesome. That's really cool. Vector hooks, they got some swim jigs out there that are really great. They got I think they're called the Donkey Snatchers. And then they got the EWG hooks and some flipping hooks and stuff like that we'll be using. Barefoot Fishing, that's where we get our Googan baits from. So I know you love the trench hogs, right?
More so the Bandito bugs, but I started
bugs.
using trench hogs a little bit more. It's one of those baits that I don't have a ton of experience with, but I've used them, and I have some confidence in them on offshore grass. It's something different than a ribbon tail or drop shotting. Those offshore grass lines, just a bulkier, bigger presentation. Yeah. So I've had some success fishing offshore grass lines with them.
Absolutely. And then finally we got Titan Tungsten. We both love using tungsten. You're actually sponsored by Woo Tungsten, but Titan Tungsten is what we're going to go with for the sponsor this year. And tungsten, I mean, there's such a difference between tungsten and lead.
I remember I switched over to tungsten a few years ago,
mm-hmm.
and I would always use lead because it was cheaper.
It's like $1 at Walmart.
But I switched over, started using tungsten. I knew I would regret it when I first switched because of the price.
It is a little bit pricey.
It is beyond worth it. It's way more compact, and I thought everyone was joking when they said that you get the extra feel.
Oh yeah.
On your bottom contact. It's amazing how big of a difference there is between tungsten and lead. How much more you can feel.
And I mean, like, for me, I throw, for flipping and stuff, I personally prefer, like, a 3/8 ounce weight or whatever, and with my 3/8 ounce weight for lead, it was, like, that long, and then for my 3/8 ounce weight now for tungsten, it's, like, that long, so, don't worry about that. So, yeah, it's definitely a big difference when you switch over to tungsten, like you said. Tad bit pricey, but, you know, that's the price you pay to get that extra little edge on the competition and stuff, so... that's our awesome sponsors for the year, so we'll just be kind of coming out with them. You've already seen on some of the social media we do those sponsorship Sundays, so we lined it up 8 weeks perfectly to the start of the season. So each Sunday we'll be featuring a different sponsor from the year for the season on social media, so stay tuned for that. Some of them have got some giveaways and stuff, and then some of them are just great sponsors to have for the season. Finally, again, we've been kind of stressing this a lot during the presentation here. Our social media is basically going to be the way that you're going to be able to watch all this great action happen. Instagram is great, and we can do a couple videos on there.
So through Instagram, on tournament days, we'll be able to post on our stories, maybe even do a couple like quick 5-10 minute lives when we're on the water. Mm-hmm. So even before the videos come out, you'll be able to keep up to date on our tournaments when we're fishing.
Yep. So that'll be through Instagram and Facebook. They allow you to do that, stories and stuff like that. TikTok, we make some funny videos on there. We've gotten a lot of likes and a lot of followers on there. So if you guys aren't already following and seeing some of those really cool videos and stuff that we do, that's something you're going to want to jump on. YouTube is obviously going to be the main platform.
That's going to be the main place where we post the actual professional videos that we're going to be making. So our full tournament day videos, this podcast that we're filming, this overview podcast, that's going to be on YouTube.
Yep.
So that's where our long full length videos are going to be.
Yep.
And like Trevor was saying, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, those are going to be our stories, keeping up to date on like on the water, just real recent postings.
Yeah, so it's going to be a fun time. And then if you guys have any questions, I mean, on anything that's going on, if you guys want to get involved for whatever reason, I mean, I don't know really how much we're going to have people get involved, but we'll be reaching out if we need help with anything throughout the season.
More than open to have extra help and suggestions. So
yeah, so you guys can email us there at Wisconsin Bass Battles. One biggest thing that we kind of right off the gate we got a little bit mixed up in is we're not actually affiliated with a bass is it a tournament or a circuit?
It's series.
It's a series circuit called Wisco Bass. That's run by the Real Shot. That's completely separate from us.
They are way bigger than we are.
Yeah, they got a pretty big field compared to a 2-boat field, and stuff like that for us. So they're not affiliated with us. We had a little bit of branding issues, I guess you could say, or whatever.
So we
with
had
them.
to change the name
a little bit.
Full Wisconsin Bass Battles.
Yeah. So, but we're looking forward to an awesome season. One thing I would like to let you guys know that we are still running kind of a contest up through the stage. So as soon as that first stage hits, we're doing like these top fans. So if you guys are on Instagram, Facebook, I think we're just going to do it through Instagram and Facebook because TikTok's a little bit hard to manage. But if you're a fan on Instagram or Facebook, if you like, comment, subscribe,
just interaction
with any of the social media platforms, the top 3 people that interact the most with us on there, whether that be commenting or liking or whatever it may be, they are going to go ahead and get the access to the videos that we make of these actual stage episodes before anyone else gets a chance to, as well as a couple other giveaways that will go along with that. So
we'll probably be giving out some free baits and soft plastics, that sort of stuff.
There's one other thing I might have to talk to you about, and we're going to see if we can work it out. But so definitely get on social media and follow us, and it's going to be an awesome time. So we appreciate all the support we've had. We've had tons of support. We have a ton of followers on Instagram. Facebook, we're lacking a little bit, but we're getting there. And TikTok has been just blowing up through the roof. So again, just get out there, subscribe if you can. Everything helps, and we look forward to having an awesome season.
Yep, and then any questions or anything, you guys feel free to email us.
Or DM us or message us through Facebook. Yep. Any of them we'll absolutely answer to.
So, looking forward to a fun season this year.
Yeah. I don't got anything else. How about you?
Nope.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you guys out on the water May 15th.
On Lower Red.
On Lower Red.